Hello everyone. I hope you guys can see my screen. Okay. Okay, so what we'll do is we will start with our Angular sessions today. Okay, so what we have covered till today, let me mention into a notepad file. All right. So first of all, what we did, we covered the ES6 for 2 sessions. Then we have seen what? We have seen TypeScript for 2 sessions, right? Now, from this session, we will talk about Angular 2. All right. So first of all, what we will do is I'll tell you how to create a new Angular project. Okay, then we'll go through the code structure, or rather I will say folder structure. All right, and then I'll tell you how to run this application. All right. Also, we'll talk about ng module. Okay. All right. So let's start with our first topic, how you will create a new AngularJS or Angular 2 project. All right, so first of all, what you have to do is you have to create a folder, just like I have this session 6 as a folder. And here, what you need to do, you need to run the command ng. So what is ng? Ng you get when you install Angular CLI, right? I hope everybody knows how to install Angular CLI, right? You install Angular CLI by using npm install -g Angular -CLI, right? Once this is installed, you will be able to run the ng commands, ng. Okay. So what is Angular CLI? Angular CLI is the command line interface which is given by Google to help you with lot of stuff. Okay. So earlier when Angular 2 started, right, as it is on TypeScript and not on JavaScript, but your browser doesn't support TypeScript, right? So there were a hell lot of things required to just do the setup. Okay, so people used to spend hours to just do the setup of a small project. Okay, just to get started with Angular, you have to do the hours of few hours are spent on that, right? So Angular people, they come up with the Angular CLI. Okay, so basically using Angular CLI, it makes your work really very easier. Okay, so you need not to do much of a stuff. Everything will be automated. Okay, so what we will do, we will use the same Angular CLI to create our project as well. Okay, so for that only we did this command which we have just written, Angular CLI, right? After Angular CLI is installed, what you need to do, you need to write ng, right? So using ng, you will be doing all the stuff related to Angular CLI. Okay, so what command you have to write? You have to write ng space new and then name of the project. Okay, so maybe I can give first. Okay, so it will create my first application for me. Okay, so ng space new and space name of the project. All right. Once I will press enter, it will start creating the project for me. Okay. So it will take some time to create the project. All right. In the meanwhile, I can see if I can tell you something. This is nothing but agenda for today. So you can see here, it is installing ng2, and then it is creating hell lot of files, right? It's still telling installing packages for tooling via npm. Okay, in the meantime, it's installing. I'll tell you. So everybody knows what is npm. Npm is Node Package Manager, right? So once you install Node.js or Node on your system, you get one add-on or utility which is called as npm, which is Node Package Manager, right? So what is Node Package Manager does? It basically, it's like Maven, right? You have Maven in Java. What it does, it is basically a repository where a lot of libraries are there. Okay, so using that npm, you can download any other library or framework. Okay, so that is why we have installed Angular CLI using the npm. Okay, all right. So let me tell you about the architecture of Angular. So what all things you will be seeing in Angular 2 code. Okay, so first of all comes the concept of component. All right. So in Angular 2, everything is a component. Every UI is a component. Okay, so basically Angular 2 works on the concept of components in which we divide everything like a in a component wise. Okay, if I tell you via paint, okay, so let's suppose this is your complete browser screen. Okay, so let me just, okay, so let's say this is your complete web page. All right, inside this web page, what you have other things. Let's say there is a logo here. Okay, and after that there is a menu bar here on the top, right? Then there can be one sidebar, right? And then you have some main content here. All right, and in bottom you have one footer. Okay, so if I just name them, what is it? It's the header, and here comes your logo of the company. Here is the sidebar or side navigation, right? Here goes your main content, and in the bottom you have footer, right? This is quite generic and simple structure of a web page, right? Which is quite general. If you open any web page, you have almost 90% of the cases you have something like this. Okay, one or the other way you have some stuff, right? You have header, you have some main content, you have footer in the bottom, right? So what is it? What Angular 2 does? Angular 2 basically divides your complete application or one complete web page into several components. Okay, so this component, this one, if I just paint them, so this one, which is in gray color, is basically called as one component. Okay, so what you do, you write your code in such a way that everything related to header will go as one component. Okay, so you might be creating a header component for that, and you will be doing everything there. Okay, then you have this second one, main content, right? For this you might have one other component, right? So everything related to main content, right? Like CSS, it's HTML, it's JavaScript, or the TypeScript, right? Or everything will go under one folder. Okay, so that will be treated as one component. Okay, similarly, the footer. So the footer is also treated as one separate component. Similarly, you can say the sidebar. The side navigation bar is treated as one other component. Okay, so it depends how you divide your application, but it is more of a modularized way of doing the stuff via the components. Okay, so what your key takeaway from this screen is that you create components to make modularize your code. Okay, so to make the everything separated from each other, you make components. Okay, technically how it is to be done, that I will show you, but only key takeaway is that you should know that some of the stuff is component. All right, now let's see if it is installed. Yeah, so our project is ready. Let's see what is there in our project. Okay, before going to that, let me complete this slide as well. Okay, so component are the main building blocks of your application in Angular 2. All right, then comes the template. What is template? Template is nothing but your HTML files. Whatever you see in the view is a template. All right, and then what we have something called as injectable services. Okay, so what are injectable services? Services are what? Services are something which you get on demand, right? So if you take an example of real life, what you do, you want the internet connection, you want to access the internet, right? What you do, you have two options. Either you create a company of your own, you become a own service provider, right? Like Airtel or Vodafone, right? But just to access the internet, you can't open your own company, right? You cannot set up everything because it takes hell lot of money, right? So what you do, you take one of the providers, right? You just go to Airtel, you go to ACT, right? What you do, you ask them for the service, right? So what is a service? Which is on demand. You need something, there is a provider for it and you are getting it. Similarly, in Angular 2, what we have the concept of services. Okay, so some common logic which can be used by several components that we write in a service. Okay, so let me tell you via this. Let's suppose there is there is some logic is there which you need in header as well as you need in this side navigation. Okay, so that means you need something, some point of code, some lines of code that it has to be common, right? That you want in header as well, you want in sidebar as well, right? So I'm giving very simple example so that you will understand. So that common lines of code, what you do, you write into a separate file which we will call as service. Okay, so how you will write the service, what you will write inside a service, how you will write it, the code inside it, that we will discuss. Only thing is, what you have to understand, you have to understand that some common logic goes inside a service. All right, now let's see. Next is this directive. Okay, so what is a directive? Directive is nothing but a component only. Okay, or a component internally is a directive. Okay, so if you want to use one component into another component, then it becomes a directive. Okay, so basically you need to understand that a component becomes a directive when it is used inside any other component. Okay, let's suppose there are multiple components. Then if you are using one component inside another component, then the component which is used is called as a directive. Okay, so this is just a very short idea what we are going to do. Okay, so now let's go to the code structure, folder structure. We'll understand how the project is created and what all will go inside that. Okay, okay, so you want to know about the service and directive. All right. uh, okay, I repeat, but if you do not understand this, then that is also perfectly fine for now, because we are going to discuss them anyways when we will learn them in detail. Okay, so first of all, the service, right? Let's suppose there is a function or there is a code which you want to make reusable. Okay, so what I told, that you will be creating components which will be totally independent from each other, right? So your header is one component, footer is one another component, right? So one other component means this header will have its own HTML, it will have its own uh, component logic which is in TypeScript, it has its own style sheets to make it look beautiful, right? All that stuff related to this header will go under one folder or one component, right? Then you have the footer, right? For the footer as well, you will have the same thing, right? Now, let's suppose there is some logic which you want to share across these two components, header component and footer component. Okay, then what you will do, you will create service in Angular. Okay, because services are injectable and shareable components. They can be used in header as well, they can be used in footer as well. Okay, so that is why you will be creating a service. Okay, and then comes the directive. So what is a directive? Directive is nothing but another component only, but if you are using one component inside another component, then it becomes a directive for the component in which you are using the first component. Okay, if it is confusing, then you do not worry at all. Okay, you will understand once we will do this. Okay, all right. So let's see the folder structure now. So you can see here I got one folder whose name is first, right? Because I have given a command ng new space first, right? So when I written this first, it has created one folder or a project with the same name as first. All right. So let's drag drop it in the Sublime and let's see what is there. Okay. So now when I open the first folder or the project, you can see lot of files are created automatically, right? So let's see what all files we can change and what are the files of our concern. All right. So first of all comes the E2E. What is this E2E? E2E is end to end. Okay. This folder we need not to see because this is totally related to testing. Okay. So end to end, this is a folder created for the testing part. Okay. So we need not to see this folder and we will not work on this folder. All right. Then comes the node modules folder. What is node modules? Node modules will basically contain all our modules. What modules? Modules means all the libraries or the framework related stuff will be inside node modules folder. Okay, so this also we will never change. You can see it has containing Angular files, Angular library, everything is there. Then there are Angular CLI, right? Then there is a lot of stuff. Okay, there are so many libraries getting downloaded, right? We may not be using all of them, but yeah, everything is getting created in our project. Okay, so this is basically creating all the libraries or framework related stuff. We will not be changing this. Okay, then comes this src folder, which is of our interest totally. Okay, we will be working on src folder. Okay, I'll come to src. Okay, then comes these files, right? In these also we can see this package.json. Okay, so what is this package.json? Let me write this down. Okay, not here. So what is package.json? Package.json is the your project descriptor. Okay, which basically tells about the project. What is your project and what all libraries and files you need in your project. This is goes inside the package.json file. Okay, so you can see it is nothing but a JSON file only, right? Where we are telling that what are the dependencies of our project. We need Angular, its version is 2.2.3. We need Angular compiler, its version, everything goes inside this. Okay, so this file is also automatically created. Okay, we may not be changing this. Okay, we may not be because basically Angular project, Angular CLI gives you everything which is required. Okay, but still if you need something else, then you may change it. Okay, let's suppose tomorrow you want to use some framework of jQuery. Let's suppose some jQuery you want. Okay, so jQuery, then you will write some version of it, maybe 1.2.3 like this. Okay, that may be the rare case. So mostly you will not be changing this file as well. Okay, and why we need package.json file? Okay, so why we need this package.json? Can anyone tell me why we need package.json? If anyone has worked on Node, then he or she must be knowing why we need package.json file. What is its importance? Okay. Okay, so Nutan is telling to get the node modules when we run npm install in any other machine. Exactly. So you can see that our node modules folder is very huge, right? It is containing more than 80 folders. Okay, so let's suppose you want to ship this project, this complete project to somebody. Okay, you want to give it to someone. So what you will do? What you can do is first thing you can give the complete project, right? You just bundle this project into a WinRAR or as a zip and you send it. Okay, but what we are doing, our code which we really require is just a few kbs, but node modules itself is of around 100 mbs, right? So just to ship a few kbs of code, you are basically shipping the mbs of code, more than 100 mbs of code, right? So what is the better way? Better way is you create one this package.json file. Okay, and then while giving your project, you do not give this node modules folder. You will remove this folder. Then what happened? Your project became very lightweight, right? And package.json is what? It is a descriptor of your project. As I told that what is an package.json? It is your project descriptor. It tells that what all dependencies you need in order to run this project. Okay, so when you will do, when you will run npm install, npm install is a command. Okay, so let's suppose I give this project to you. So what you will do, you will run this command. After going into your project, you will run npm install. What this will do, this will install, this will first of all look at the package.json file. It will look at this file and start downloading each and every library into a folder called as node modules. It will automatically create a node modules folder, and inside this it will download all the libraries or frameworks which I have mentioned in this file. Okay, so what will happen, the same folder will automatically be downloaded in their local system as well, and then it will automatically run. Okay, okay, so node, I'll tell you what version of node I am using. I can just write what I can run a command node hyphen hyphen version. Okay, so node version in my machine is 6.9.1. Okay, so 7 is, I think, not a stable release. You should always download the stable release. All right, and second question is, you need not to create this package.json for you. Okay, so you just have to write one command which is ng new, and what was the name, ng new, and then name of your project, like this, and everything will be created automatically. Okay, so you need not to create package.json yourself. Okay, all right, so it's node hyphen hyphen v, like this, and you can update the node version anytime. Just download the latest version from nodejs.org website, and you will be having the latest version. Okay, all right, so next, coming to our other files. Okay, so this protector and karma, these are related to testing stuff. Okay, that we will cover once we will be having one session on testing as well. Okay, so we will not see protector and karma now. Angular CLI, this is also we will not see for now. We don't need this, or we do not change it anymore. Okay, so now comes the folder of our concern, the main folder which you are going to work on. You will be working on src folder. Okay, let's see what all are there in src. All right, so there is one app folder. Okay, this I'll come back. Then there is some assets folder, we don't need this, let it be there, it's only empty. Then environments, we don't need to look into this. Okay, then comes our first file, which is index.html. Okay, so what is inside index.html? Plain HTML syntax, right? There is one HTML tag, then there is a head tag, right? And then there is a body tag, right? And then there is some new tag. What is app root? At line number 12, there is something new. What is app root? App hyphen root. Is it HTML? HTML is having uh, any HTML element called as app root? No, it does not have, right? So I'll tell you what is the app root. All right. Okay. So this is our first file, which is called as the base template index.html. All right. Now let's take a look at app folder, or let's go to main.ts. Okay, main.ts, I'll tell you. Now let's move on to app folder. Okay, so you will be working mostly on app folder only. Under SRC, you will be having one folder app, which is a short form for your application. Okay, this tsconfig.json, you remember this tsconfig.json? In our last session also, we have seen a folder like this, a file like this, right? So this basically you need for the TypeScript. Okay, so we'll not go through this. You just it just created to support the TypeScript. Okay, so same thing we have here as well, tsconfig.json. Now let's have a look at our app folder. Okay, inside this what we have a file called as app.component.ts and app.module.ts. Okay, let's have a look at app.module.ts. All right, so what it has done, let me tell you first. So when you create a project, right, you created a project using ng new first, right? So what it has done, it has created one base component for you. Okay, so first base component or one component it has already created for you, whose name is app. Okay, so this is a one base component which it has already pre-delivered you. All right, now we can create our other components as well, that we will definitely do. Okay, so but it has already given you one component. All right, and Angular needs, okay, if I write Angular needs one root component in order to get started. Okay, so what Angular needs? Angular needs one root component, okay, which is the top level or the parent component in order to get started. Okay, and this component is always called as root component. Okay, so if I show you from this picture, this outside line, this black line, which is very outside, totally outside, right? Which is basically signifies your application or your page, complete page, right? This is called as your root component. Okay, so once you have this, then only you can have other components inside this. Okay, so this, if I just put a color on this, maybe I'll put black color maybe. So this one. Okay, so the area which is black totally, right? This complete or the base is the root component. Okay, so root component is very, very necessary. So unless you do not have a root component, you cannot have other components inside that, right? So that is why it has created one root component for us. Okay, now let's look at file called as app.modules.ts. Okay, we will definitely look at these component files, component.ts, component.spec, component.html, and component.css. Okay, but first going to that, we have to first look at what is app.module.ts file. Okay, first of all, name. What is app.module.ts? It's a TypeScript file, right? Because it is its extension is TS. It is a TypeScript file. Okay, now what is written inside this? Let's forget about this top, everything, just forget about the selected area. Okay, just look at line number 20. Let's suppose that this top is not there. Let's remove this. What is it? It is a simple class whose name is app module, right? And we have written export in front of it, right? Anyways, it is automatically generated. You'll not be creating it, but you should understand what is it. App module is name of a class and it is exported. Simple, right? Pretty simple. Now let me do Control Z. Okay, so there is something written on top of this class from line number 8 to line number 19. So now it is your task. You tell me what is line number 8 to line number 19. Can anyone tell me what is line number 8 to line number 19? Only one answer. Okay, cool. Yeah, exactly. It is a decorator, right? And what type of decorator is it? There are different types of decorators, right? Yes, it is a class decorator because it is applied on a class, right? Now, as you can see, what is passed to this? If you look at only the selected part, if I remove the selected part, right, what is remaining? Nothing, just a name of the decorator, which is ng module. Okay, so what is ng module? At the rate ng module. At the rate ng module is a decorator, right? And it tells that now you are going to create a module. Okay, so generally you create one module which is the topmost, or which you can say is the main part of your application, core and soul of your application. Okay, and that is what we write in this module. Okay, so generally you will not be creating n number of modules if unless it is a very huge application, some banking software or some a Facebook type of application. You will not be creating n number of modules. Okay, now let's take a look at its data. What is passed inside this? What is it? Double curly braces. When you write double curly braces, what happens? What is meaning of this double curly bracket? Block values? No. Block of code? No. Just have a close look at it. You are passing it to a function, right? As I told, it is a function. It is a function, right? Exactly. It is JSON data. Okay, it is an object or a JSON data, right? So that means ng module is a parameterized class decorator, right? It can take some parameter. And what type of parameter it takes? It takes an object, right? It is an object. So what object will contain? Object will contain key value pairs, right? You can see. So what is the key? It expects one key which is called as declaration. Okay, then there is a second key which is imports. Then there is a third key providers, and fourth key bootstrap. Okay, we will go through all of these one by one. Okay, so first of all, declarations. Okay, what goes inside the declarations? Inside the declaration you write the all the name of your components which you are going to create in this module. Okay, so for now, from understanding point of view, you can say this module is your complete project. Okay, for now only, unless you create a second module. Okay, so that means whatever components you are going to create in your application, you are going to mention them here. Okay, so basically we are telling that I am going to create some component and your application should know about this, right? Then you will write the name of component here, right? Like one component which is app.component.ts, which it has created, it has automatically written its name here, app component. Okay, and how you are able to write it here? How is it able to identify? Because we have written a call line on the top which is called as import app component, which is name of the component from this file, app.component. Okay, so as you know, we do not mention the type of the file, ts, right? Like in my last lecture, I told you, you do not specify the extension of the file. All right, So we have imported this, then I am able to declare it here. If I remove this import, it will give me an error. Okay, you can see it is giving an error on the app component, cannot find name app component. Okay, so that is why if you want to use it, you have to first import it. Okay, so I got a question that there are multiple files with app.component. No, not the only two. There are, yes, there are multiple files. One is .css, .html, .ts and .spec.ts. Okay, so when you import like this, it will always import the TS file. Okay, you need not to specifically mention it. It will always import TypeScript file only. Okay, yeah.
If we
Then
have
comes the,
multiple components, we will put it in declaration.
sorry?
If we have multiple components, we will put that in declaration.
Yes, you will be. Okay. So once you will have multiple components, you will be putting them here. Okay, but I will tell you that you will not create components manually, like right click, create a new file, you write something inside is no. Okay, so just learn or just keep in mind that Angular CLI is your best friend. Everywhere Angular CLI will help you. I'll tell you how. Okay, then comes the second part, which is imports. What is imports? Imports means whenever you are going to use a third party module or another module inside your module. Okay, like this is your module, right? App module, this is our module. Inside this you want to use some other module. Okay, let's suppose a third party has created some other module and you want to use it, right? You have to mention them in the imports. Okay, so you can see it has automatically included some of the generally used, frequently used modules, like forms module. Okay, whenever you create a form in your HTML, you import this form module, right? Whenever you want to make HTTP requests, right? So you will be using HTTP module. Okay, for now we may not require it, we can remove this, right? But let it be there. Okay, we will not remove this. However, it doesn't matter for us right now because we are neither creating forms, we are neither creating HTTP requests. Okay, but for your helping point of view, to help you, it has, because these are majorly used modules, right? You generally create a HTTP service, you consume HTTP service, you generally create forms in your application, right? So that is why it has given you out of the box. Okay, similarly you can see to use this forms module and HTTP modules, they have to be imported, right? Like line number 3, it is importing forms module from @angular/forms. Okay, HTTP module from Angular/HTTP. Okay, so Angular is the folder and HTTP are their different names. Okay, or different libraries or modules. Okay, next is providers. So providers, I'll tell you later when we will make use of providers. Okay, so if you I have to give you a rough idea. In providers, you basically write name of your services. Whatever services you create, you will be passing their names here. Okay, next comes the bootstrap. This is really important. What is bootstrap? Bootstrap is the key and it has one entry which is app component. Okay, so bootstrap basically means to start your application, right? To boot your application. Okay, so what happens? Okay, so okay, I got a question. So what is dot slash? Dot slash is nothing but just to point to the current folder. Okay, so dot slash is nothing but it is pointing to current folder. If you look at this app.module.ts file, where is it? It is inside app folder, right? And you want to import this component, right? Which is in the same folder. So you have just given dot slash like this. Okay. Then at the rate you use to import the node modules file. Like from here, you are importing Angular, right? You can see here folder name itself is having at the rate Angular. That is why it has been using at the rate Angular. Okay. Yeah. So I was telling about Bootstrap, right? So what happens when you want to load your application, when you run your application? Okay, I'll tell you how you will run your application, but right. So what happens when you run it, right? You need one base component, right? Root component to be started, right? To get starting your application, you need to load one component, right? Let's take an example of a car. When you put the key, right, and then you start it, right? There is, you just rotate the key, right? But there is a lot of stuff happening behind the scene, right? What happens? You start it, engine gets started, right? There is something called as spark plug is there. Then there is fuel tank as well, which is providing the fuel to the spark plug, and then it gets started, right? There is hell lot of stuff happening behind the scenes. Okay. Similarly here, what we tell our root component that when you load the application, then bootstrap this component, basically to load this component. Okay. And how it will get loaded? It will be loaded from this main.ts file, okay, which is outside the app. Let's see what is inside main.ts. One thing not to forget, that we are exporting this class. We are exporting app module. Okay. So all the configuration of our module we are exporting. Okay. And this app module we will import in main.ts file. Let's see what is inside main.ts.
And here, is there any relationship between Bootstrap in Angular and Bootstrap in CSS framework?
Yeah, they are totally different. Okay. So that bootstrap is name of a framework. Okay. Don't
Okay.
confuse both of them. That is a name of the framework, name of a library, CSS library. Okay. But this is in the common sense, in the common terms. Bootstrapping means starting application.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. So let's talk about main.ts. All right. So you will not see a lot of stuff here. Even it is not of our concern. Only thing is this bootstrap, there is a function called as platform browser dynamic, which is coming from at the rate angular slash this platform browser dynamic name. I don't know why they have given such a huge name. Okay. But our main concern is its method. What is its method? Its method is bootstrap module. Okay. So this is very our useful method, bootstrap module, in which we pass the all configuration of our module. Where is our all the configuration of module? It is inside app module.ts, right? In this class only. Actually it is empty only, right? It's not having any definition, but via this at the rate ng module, it knows everything, right? And we have exported this class app module and we import this in main.ts, right? Import app module from dot slash app. All right. And we pass this app module to bootstrap module function. Okay. So it will load this app module from the uh, app module.ts file and it will run your application. Okay. So all this stuff, whatever I have told you till now is what? Just the same context of same thing when you rotate the key in your car, right? When you switch the car on, a lot of stuff happens behind the scene. The same thing happens for your Angular application as well. It will load this app.module.ts. It will see all this stuff. It will load your app component, which is the first component, right? And then it will call the bootstrap module function and app module will be loaded. Inside the app module, it will first load what? It will first load our first component whose name is app component. Okay, now let's see what is this app component, right? We are talking about this from so long, right? Let's see what is inside that. So your app component is this app.component.ts. Okay, so whenever you will be creating a component, you will be always be getting 4 files. Name of the component, like app is there, right? This is the name. .component.ts file. This is your component file. Then there is one spec file. What is spec? It will contain the test cases, okay, which we will be generally deleting. We are not more concerned about this file. Okay, so our main file is .ts file, which will contain your component. Then there is a HTML file, which will contain the HTML of that component. Then CSS file. Okay, so if I show you from here, if I am creating a module, header module, under, then what will happen? A header folder will be created, and under that header folder, what all things will be created? It will be header.component.ts, header.component.html, header.component.css. Okay, all 3 files will come under header folder.
What about app module?
App module is one time. This is for the complete application only. Okay, this is for complete application, your complete app. All right. Okay, so let's open the app.component.ts file and let's see what is written there. All right, so what is it? Again, look at line number 8 to line number 10. What is it? Again, it's a class which is having a name app component, right? And then there is one property title which has some value inside. There's some string value, whatever. Okay, now just have a look at its line number 3 to line number 7. What is it? It's a decorator again, right? So whenever you want to create a class and you want to make it a component, okay, so this class will be acting as a component, right? Then what you do, you put @component on top of that. Okay, so @component is a class decorator, right? And what are we passing to it? We are passing a object again, right? We are having 3 properties: selector, template URL, and style URL. Okay, selector, I'll tell you. Let's talk about template URL first. Okay, so as I told, this header, right, it will be having 3 things. One, it's its logic or the component file, which is this file app.component.ts, right? Then 2 more things it will have. It will have a HTML file, it will have a CSS file, right? So same thing we will tell here. What is your HTML file? What is HTML file for this component? We tell in the template URL property, template URL, and then name of the HTML file. Okay, so app.component.html is its template, for this class or this component. App.component.css is your style or CSS file for this component. Okay, next is this selector, right? So what is the meaning of selector? So this selector means it will become a HTML tag. Okay, in the very starting of our application, when I created this project, I asked you one question in the index.html, right? I asked, what is this line number 12, right? And I told you that I will come to this. Okay, so this is your selector only. Look at this, app-root. Okay, so it means it tells the Angular that, so this property selector, it tells the Angular that wherever you will see a tag whose name is app-root, anywhere in your application, if you see a selector tag called as app-root, then replace that with this HTML, with this template URL property HTML, and apply all these styles, whatever inside this app.component.css files. Okay, so that is why this app-root, right? What is it? It is here. It is in line number 12, right? It will find it that app-root is there, and it will replace its content, right? Whatever is there, it will be replaced with what? It will be replaced with this template URL property HTML file. Okay, app.component.html will replace that content. What is inside this? It is having one h1 tag. Okay, let me remove this, and I just write let me comment this, and I just write hello app component is working. Okay, so this is your HTML file. Okay, I removed this line number 2 for a reason, because you will not understand this for now. That is why I've just written some static content. Okay, all right, and it will apply these styles on that. What is these styles? It is a CSS file, right? It is, so we are mentioning it here. It is just like importing. Okay, like in our plain projects, plain HTML projects, what you do, you import the files, right? So this is doing the same thing, but in a different manner, in a different way. Okay, it is just like importing. Okay, let's see what is in the CSS file. It is empty, right? So what we can write, we can simply write some CSS content in this, right? So on H1, what to do? Make its color as, maybe I say red. Okay, so what I am writing here in this CSS file, that wherever you find h1 tag, make its color red. Okay, so that means whenever in this HTML file app.component.html, which is here, whenever it will file h1 tag, it will apply that style on that. Okay, where is Nutan? Where is a number? I can't see any
Number
number.
9. No, line number 9. This
Yeah,
title is equal to app works. So what is this line?
this is the line number. This is the in the folder only.
No,
This is,
I got it. What does that mean? Title is equal to app works. Where are they using the title?
yeah, we were actually using it here at line number 2, which I have removed. Okay, so I will come to it. Why I removed this? I removed this because right now you will not understand it. Okay,
Okay.
so you can just ignore it, or it is just a property, right? In a class. Okay, if you forget everything else, okay, it just a class. Just look at line number 8 to 10. It is a class which is having one property called as title, right? Simple.
But we would have given a type as it is TS. We would have given some type for this.
Yeah, definitely. You can give like this. Okay. All right.
Okay.
Yeah. So our focus is not on this. All right. So this is our code structure for the folder structure. Okay. So now what we will do, I will run this project. How to run it? Here also our friend will work. Friend will help us. Who is our friend? Angular CLI. ng space start. Okay. Just write this ng space start. It will, what it will do? It will do the same stuff. It will go through main.ts file. Okay, so first of all, I have to enter into a project, right? I forgot to do that. I have to enter into first folder, right? Here also, here only I can write ng start. Okay, it will do all that stuff. It will go to main.ts. It will load the first module. From the first module, it will load the first component. Okay, specified command is invalid. Let me see, ng help. What was the name? Is it start? No. Let me check.
It's ng serve.
Okay. ng set is there, ng test, yeah. So it is ng serve, not ng start, it's ng serve. So let me just clear this and I will write ng hyphen serve. What it will do? It will do all that stuff, go through main.ts, find the first module, inside that first module, find the first component, right? It will create a local server. Okay, it will create a local server as well and run this complete application on that server. Okay,
Ratik, sorry to interrupt. Since I mean these are all TypeScript files, right? So I mean there are no JS files. TypeScript is eventually converted into JS, right?
right.
So why don't we have JS files here?
Yep. So Angular CLI does lot of stuff for us. Okay, that is why we are not having those files here. We are not creating them from ourselves.
Okay, so you mean at runtime? I mean dynamically they are just interpreted into JS JavaScript while
Exactly.
running the application. Okay.
Right, right. Okay. So we need, that is what earlier, but when the Angular started, they guys released their very alpha version or something. What happened? People were so frustrated in doing the setup that they were not able to set up the code. They are not able to set up the hello world. They were not able to write the hello world application. Okay, so because first they need the transpiler, then they need the server, then they need the webpack, then they need hell lot of other stuff. Okay, that is why Angular come with the concept of this Angular CLI. Okay, they told that now you have just have to run these commands and your project setup will be done. Then you run this command ngserve, then it will automatically create a server for you. Earlier what they were doing, they were creating a server from their self only. Developers had to do ourselves. Okay, but now just write ngserve, it will automatically create a server also. Okay, so now you can see it is running on localhost 4200. So now what we will do, we will go to localhost 4200 and let's see. Right, you can see here hello app component is working. Okay, so your application is working. If I refresh, okay, one more thing you have to notice, while refreshing, loading is printed. In the very initial stage, loading is printed. After that, that loading is replaced with this content, right? From where that loading text is coming? That text is coming from this. Inside app-root, we have given this loading text. Okay, so here you can see that there is a little delay of 1 second or 2 seconds, right? So in that 1 or 2 seconds, what is happening? It is initiating our module and then from that it is initializing our component. Once this component is loaded, app.component, it will load app.component.html file. What is inside app.component.html? It is written this hello app component is working, right? And that is what printed here. Hello app component is working. Okay. So now what we have done, we have successfully run our first application on Angular 2. Okay. Okay, why 4200? So 4200 is basically the default port on which your Angular 2 application runs. So you can see it in this as well. Here you can see ng live deployment server is running on HTTP localhost 4200. Okay, so by default it run on 4200 port. Okay, so that's just a number, just a port number. Okay, so by default they give this only, they give the 4200. All right, and then it is this ng service just like a what? It is just like what you have done yesterday, tsc-w, right? Whenever you will make changes in your files, right? It will automatically run the build for you. Okay, you can see again it is compiling, right? It is again and again compiling, and it will automatically refresh your browser as well. Okay. Okay, if you want to change the template as root, then root page. Okay, so what you will do, you will simply replace this app.component.html with some other file, whatever name of the file is there. Okay, but you generally don't do this. Whatever you are writing in that file, you will be writing in this file only, right? This is your main page, main root page. Whatever you want to do, you just do in this file. Okay, yeah. Now let me tell you about this title, right? So let me remove this and let me just uncomment this. However, this is from our next session's topic. This is called as interpolation. Okay, so what happens when you write like this? You write a class, and inside that class you write some property. Okay, you want to show this property title in the file, in the UI, right? In this app.component.html, right? So what you do, you just write like this. Okay, double curly braces, and inside that you write name of the property which you want to show. Okay, so this title, its name is app_works, right? If you want to show this title property inside this app.component.html file, right, then what you will do, you will just bind it like this, double curly braces and then name of the property. Let's save this and see our build is happening again. Yes, it is happening again, and browser will automatically refresh. Yes, it is refreshed. You can see now it is reprinting app_works, right? Where this app_works is written here in the title, and this title is shown in the HTML file. Okay, so this is just called as binding. The binding concepts will come in our next session. Okay, now let me tell you about one more property in this component. Okay, so there is a property called as template. Okay, what this template property says. Okay, so currently what we have seen, this template URL, is the common way of doing the stuff. Okay, mostly you will be doing it like this only. Okay, in this template URL you will be passing one HTML file and that will be loaded. Okay, let's suppose there is very small content. Okay, very less content is there in this HTML file. All right, and you want to write it here only. Okay, so you can directly write the HTML content here itself in this component decorator only. Here only you can write the complete HTML. Okay, and how you write it? By using this backtick syntax. Okay, inside this you can write your complete HTML. Let's suppose you want to write some h1 tag. Okay, like this h1, and inside this you want to say hello world, and then you want to use the curly braces, and inside this you want to show the title as well. Okay, so that means whatever I was writing in this app.component.html, I can directly write in a template property as well. Okay, so why you use template URL property? So as you do not write hell lot of HTML here itself. Okay, so let's suppose you are having 50 lines of HTML, then you cannot write 50 lines of HTML here. You can write, but that will not make sense, right? If you are writing 50 lines of HTML in a TS file, that is why you write template URL. Okay, but let's suppose there is one line or two line, then you can make use of this template property. Inside that you can write your complete HTML code. Let's see, I save this. Okay, I just see It is refreshing. Yes, it is done, and it prints hello world app works, right? That is what I wanted to print, hello world, and then the title. Okay. And why is it coming in red color? It's coming in red color because the CSS is getting applied, right? Where we are having CSS, we are having the CSS file where we have told in any h1 tag apply the color as red. That is why this is h1 tag and it is coming in red color to completely. Okay. But generally you will not be following this syntax. Okay, you will not be writing template here. We generally write template URL only. Okay, like this. But from a knowledge purpose, you should know that there is a property called as template as well. Okay. And then similarly template, similar to template URL, there is a template, right? Similarly for writing the style sheets. Okay, like you are writing the CSS into a separate file, app.component.css, right here. Same thing you can do here as well. Okay, like this, you can pass whatever you want to show. Inside this, you can write your complete CSS as well. Okay, but still you do not do this. It's always better that you write into a separate file like this app.component.css. Okay, it's always good that you do not write styles and HTML content here. You keep them in a separate files only. Okay. Yep. So let me see. This gulp webpack. So all these things which are written in the PPT are pretty old. Okay. So the content which is there, it is from the older versions. Like if I tell you the workflow on how Angular has done, Angular has first given the alpha version, then it comes to beta, then they have released their RC. Okay, RC means release candidate 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, right? In June or something, they started their RCs, release candidates. Okay, and then finally, I think on 16th of September, they released their first version of Angular 2. Okay, so Angular 2 is not very old. It is just 3 to 4 months old only. Okay, so this content which is given in the PPTs is older. Okay, now you do not try to need this webpack, gulp, everything. Okay, you need not to do anything like this. Okay, everything is taken care by your Angular CLI now. Okay, so all this stuff you need not to do from yourself. Earlier you used to do, right? But after CLI has come, your work is reduced a lot. Okay, all right. So next, what I can tell you is from this project, let me see.
Are we going to learn testing, in this course?
For testing, we have kept one session. I think session number 18. Yeah, session number 18 will be on testing.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, but that is the one session which generally everybody hates. Okay, so people do not want to attend this session because it's more on a testing side. So okay, cool, but yeah, you should learn, you should attend that session as well. All right. Yeah, next let me tell you how you create a component. Okay, so let me just close this. Can you give an example of module creation? Module creation as in, Atul, I didn't get you. Yeah, component I am going to. Okay, that is what I'm doing right now. Okay, so how you create another component? Okay, so you need not to do again, you need not to do anything manual. Your friend will work with you. Who is the friend? Ng. So you create a module by writing ng generate. Okay, so ng generate. Then what you want to create? You want to create a component, you want to create a service, you want to create a filter. What you want to create? You want to create a component, right? You write ng generate component and then name of the component. Okay, so what is name of the component? Let's suppose I give name of the component as a header component. Okay, let's suppose you want to create a header component, then you write ng generate, then what you want to create. If you want to create a component, you write component. If you want to create a service, you will be writing what? You will be writing ng generate service. Okay, so service I'll tell you once we will come to this, but for now we are creating a component. So you write ng generate component and then name of the component like this. Ng generate component, name of the component, and press enter. Okay, so it will create 4 files for us. You will see exactly. So it has initialized installing component. Then you can see it has created 4 files. One CSS, one HTML, one spec.ts, one component.ts. Okay, so this spec.ts I don't need it. Okay, so first of all, let's see. You have seen here it has created a folder whose name is header. Okay, inside this it has created all the 4 files. Okay, so this spec.ts you can delete if you want, but I'll let it be there, or you can delete as well. Main is this header.component.ts. Okay, what is it? It's the component file, right? Then there is HTML as well, which is where we have just written header works. Then there is this CSS file app.component.css, which is currently empty. Okay, so anything styling related to this HTML, you will be writing in this CSS file. Okay, now let's see. Okay, I have closed everything. Yeah, so this is the our second component which we have created. Okay, now let's go back and see what happened in our app.module.ts. Okay, here you can see earlier there was only one declaration, app component, right? But now you can see there is one addition to it, which is header component, right? Earlier it was not there, but now when we created a header component in our application, you can see it is automatically adding these entries in this file. So you can see how much Angular CLI is helping you. Otherwise, what you have to do every time you create a component, you have to make an entry here. But now Angular CLI is doing that on your behalf. Okay, it is automatically importing that file, import header component from this file, and then it is adding it to declaration as well. Okay, now you go to your header component as well, right? Okay, so now you are having 2 components. Your application is having 2 components now, right? Now let's see what is the selector of our component which we have just created. What is it? It's app-header. Okay, let's copy this and I put it inside the app component.html file here, like this. Okay, and then I just see if it is okay. It's ng serve. I have to run this again. It will run this. Let's see. It is building our application. It is creating a server. You can see here, it shows header works. How is it showing header works? So what I did, I created this header, right? Header component. I picked this app-header, right? I just copied this and I put it inside our main component, root component here. Okay, I just written it as a HTML tag, app-header, and then close the app-header. Okay, then whatever is there, this is a selector, right? Header component, app-header. Whenever it find a selector like this app-header, it will put this HTML, right? It will replace this HTML with that tag. What is inside this HTML? It's just written header works, right? And header works is, you can see printed here. You can see header works. Okay.
Here, in order to show the data on the browser, like header works, we can
Right.
write it in two ways, right? One is in the HTML file and the other one is using binding operator.
Exactly.
Okay.
So binding you do not focus as of now, because binding is our second topic in our next session. Okay. So for now, just see that you can directly write from here. Whatever you can do, you can do it from here. You want to put some image, you want to create a form, you want to create a link, whatever you can do in HTML, you can do it from here.
Okay. And
Okay.
can't we bind this TS script, whatever we are writing now, can't we bind it within the HTML file itself? Like how we will be doing it for JavaScript. We'll be using script tag and we will write it there itself, right?
Yeah, no, you can't. Because why? Because it is a HTML file, right? However, this is our TS file, and all the TS files have to be converted to JS files
Yes.
in order to run on the browser. If it is HTML file, then it will not be able to identify that it has to convert it first.
Okay, got it.
Okay, you just make a HTML file, write a script tag, and inside that script tag write the TypeScript syntax and run it in browser and
Okay.
see what happens. Okay,
Okay.
it will throw an error, right? Because our HTML and browser doesn't know what is TypeScript,
Exactly.
right? Yeah. All right, so this on init and all we do not go for now. We can just remove this. We don't need them. Okay. We will cover them once we will look into the lifecycle hooks. These are basically lifecycle methods. So we need not to go in that. Okay. So one thing you see that if I write here h1, okay, let's suppose in our header it was h1, okay, and in our app.component it is also h1, right? Let's see what will happen. So you can see here this header works and this app works, right? Both are h1, but this one is coming in red color and this one is coming in black color, right? Why? This is pretty simple and very straightforward answer, right? Because our app.component is having this app.component.css file in which we have defined that all the h1 has to be made red, right? And this file belongs to what? This file belongs to our app.component app component, right? This app.component.css belongs to app component, but this content, this header works, right? This header works is in a separate component. It is in other component whose name is header. Okay, so you can see these CSS files are also not shared. Okay, so both the components are having their own CSS files. Okay.
I have one more small doubt here.
Yeah.
As we have two different components and two different CSS files, we are writing independently and individually CSS related code in the CSS files.
Right.
If we have same class or same tags must apply the same CSS, and can we define once and call them in two different places?
Yes, you can. This concept will also come. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, this will actually come how you can share the CSS as well. Okay, so just like this concept of sharing, right? This is also concept of sharing. You are sharing the classes, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
The same thing will come for service. The same idea is a service. Whenever you want to share the resource, instead of writing them twice, you share it, right? And whenever you want to share it, you create a service for it.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, so basically that will come in the service chapter. We are having a separate session in which we will talk about services.
Sure.
Okay,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So let me just summarize this for you. Let me open the text file. What all you need to do. Okay, so first of all, let me write the steps. You need to do, you need to create a folder, right? Inside that folder, let me write go inside that folder using cmd. Then what? Then write ng new app name, whatever name you want to give. And then what to do? Then write ng serve. Okay. Then open browser, write localhost colon 4200, and your project will start running. All right. So these are the steps which you will need to follow in order to get your first Angular application working. Okay. Yep. So I think I am done with everything. Yes. So I have covered everything, even little few different topics of future sessions as well. But anyways, that will help us. Okay. So what I'll do, I'll upload this file on the reference material so that you can refer it.
Rajit, can I tell how to add TypeScript plugin to Sublime?
Yeah, I'll tell. So I'm uploading this. Refer this if you need this. Okay, in the meantime it is uploading. Let me tell you, I go here. Okay, so from here preferences, you can open the package control. Okay, on the top you have preferences, right? And then you have this package control option. All right, and from this package control, what you can do is you can write install package. You can choose this option, package control install package. Okay, inside the install package, okay, what is it doing? Yeah, so now once you click on that install package, it will show you the options, what all packages are available. Okay, and from this list you can choose whatever package you want to install. Like I can write TypeScript. Okay, so in TypeScript I am already having, so that is not showing in the list, but it is showing some two options, some TypeScript completion package, Arctic TypeScript. Okay, I don't want these. Basically there will be one option which is saying TypeScript. Okay, you can just enter the click on that and it will install the TypeScript for you, TypeScript plugin into your this Sublime. Okay, you got this. So what all step I did? From preferences, go to package control. In that package control, just start typing install package. It will basically give you option, or even if you don't type, then you have to just scroll down and click on the install packages here. Okay, so Once you click on this, it will start finding all the packages, and then you can type here. Let's suppose you want to install some HTML. Okay, like you can see for HTML so many stuff is there, right? You can install any one of them. Okay, but generally I prefer is one is Mnet, or is it Mnet? I think, or Mnet is there. Mnet is already I am having. Okay, one Mnet, that Mnet basically gives you everything: HTML, CSS, and JavaScript syntax. Mnet you use, and second one is TypeScript that you can use. These two you install, and it will basically work for you. Is this clear? Who asked this question?
Yeah, Rajat.
All right. So you can do this, or as I told, there is one more IDE whose name is Visual Studio Code. Okay, so I'll tell you how you can download this. For this, you need not to do anything. Okay, let me just Google this, and I say Visual Studio Code. Okay, and then from here I can go to directly downloads, download Visual Studio Code, and from here you can choose whatever system you are on. You are on Ubuntu, you are on Mac or Windows. You can just click on that. All right, and where I can download this, you can say it will automatically start downloading. Okay, so I just cancel it. I don't need this. I am already having. Okay, so you can just download the Visual Studio Code that it automatically has. So Visual Studio Code is already having the TypeScript. Okay, you need not to add any plugin into Visual Studio Code.
Okay.
So both of these editors are really nice. You can use any one of them. You can try both of them and use whatever you are comfortable with. Okay, so let me just save this as well. Where I have to save this, let me just go here. So inside this I just save it, and I upload this as well. All right, so this is also uploaded on the dashboard, so you can just refer this if you guys need. All right, okay, so I'm done with my side. You guys have any questions, then you can ask, or else we can close the session. Okay, no questions, no doubts.
I have one question that on a web page for components as header, footer, main section, and sidebar. For that purpose, I have to create four component. I have a page on which header, footer, sidebar, and main content. For that purpose, I have to create four components or less than that.
Okay, so
Hello.
it totally depends on, it totally depends. I'm getting my voice again. Why is it happening? Echo is happening. Okay, not now. All right, so it totally depends on your need, how you want to do this. Okay, So where is that image gone? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So it totally depends how you want to structure it. Okay. Ideally, you can do it. Not ideally. You can do it. You can achieve it in one component as well. Okay. Inside one component, you write the whole code. Okay. You can do that way as well. Okay. But that is not a correct way and not the recommended way of doing, because that basically defy the purpose of creating the components, right? So what you should do is you have to see how you have to work, or how can you separate your application logically. Okay, let's suppose your header and footer is having some static content. Okay, but side navigation, according to your side navigation, the main content is changing, right? Let's suppose in your side navigation you are having first link as products, which will give you the list of products. Then you can keep both of these, like sidebar and your main content, in one component. Header and footer can be in separate components. Okay, so it totally depends how, what is your need, and what do you want to achieve. Okay, yeah, all right. Any other question? Okay, and even if you like, if any time like tomorrow or any days in between, you guys face any issues or you guys have any doubts, you can just send an email to support@acadkill.com, and you can keep me in CC as well. Okay, I have sent my email ID earlier to you guys like this. Okay, so you can just add me there on Gmail. I've sent my email ID. Okay, and you can send an email there, or I do not prefer the chat because I may not be available for chat every time. But yeah, you guys can add me on the chat as well. All right. However, you can anytime drop an email to this, and as well as support@acadkill.com. All right. So you guys can
Hello.
just add me over there. Yeah.
Yeah, Rajit, just one question. Means I have been attending the session, and my main purpose was to enhance the web development in my .NET development projects. So, is this whole coding supported on the .NET platform as well? In the like, there we write the HTML and CSS codes for website enhancement. So similarly, this jQuery, JavaScript, or AngularJS, this similar coding is incorporated in those platform as well. Do you have any idea for that?
I don't have much idea about it. However, I have seen people using Angular or the front
Hmm.
end in the .NET applications as well. So for .NET, you have some IDE, right? You use some
Okay.
IDEs,
Yeah.
and in that you have some separate folders for keeping HTML and CSS and JS files,
Yes. Hmm.
right? Yeah. So
Yeah.
there you need to see again, like your if IDE supports the compilation or the transpilation of this Angular 2 code. Okay, or else what you have to do is, like, nowadays all the applications are loosely coupled, right? Front end is running somewhere else and back end is running on some other systems.
Hmm.
So back end and front end both are totally loosely coupled.
Yes.
So that doesn't makes much of a difference if you can do the stuff from the same folder or you're doing it from different folders.
Okay.
Okay,
Okay. Fine.
yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah, Atul, similarly for Ruby on Rails as well, as I told, nowadays applications are loosely coupled. Front end is running on some other system, back end is on some other system. So it's pretty cool now. It's not like the traditional way where you are running the backend server front end server, everything at one place. No. Now both of them are separated. Okay. Yeah. Okay then. So I stop sharing my screen, and next we'll see you guys on Friday, where we'll see some more stuff on Angular. Okay. All right, guys. Bye. Have a good night.